Welcome to our first ever episode, After Hours with Mustache Dave. I'm your host, Mustache Dave here, joined today by MachineGunner. How you doing, MachineGunner?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. This is our first ever episode. You're our first guest on the show. Now,
Very nice.
you were telling me a little beforehand how you're a professional at interviewing. Give me a little more insight on this. You said you're in a book, you're in a movie. What are you, the next Brad Pitt? What's going on over here, man?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as saying the next Brad Pitt,
Oh,
but I have done a few interviews. I was in a book, Military Veterans for Creative Careers by Justin Sloan. So that was pretty cool. It was just about my transition from the Marine Corps and combat vet to streaming.
all right.
So that was a couple years ago, and then I guess I was on the news a few times when I was on my third deployment in Haiti, helping out after the earthquake on Operation Unified Response. I had a news crew follow me around, so I was on nightly news.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool too.
That's quite the story. Now, let's talk about PUBG though for a second. Let's talk about PlayerUnknown. So just doing a quick little lookup on MachineGunner, your stats, all right? You played a little over 50 days so far with a lifetime kill count of 5,698 kills. Now, this is according to PUBG Tracker, PUBG.me. What can you take away from this? All those kills, what do you get out of this, man? What do you get out of playing this game, being a professional player for Rockets Esports?
Well, it's a lot of fun, that's for sure. It's something new. I mainly just played League of Legends through the last 5 years, or my streaming career, I should say. So this was the first shooter game that I really tried to pursue and change my stream. I never really thought that I was going to be a professional.
Yeah.
But I just started playing with subs and viewers. Entered into the first season of PUBG Online. I think we were in second place throughout almost the entire month with just my subs and viewers. So people started taking notice, and then they started inviting me to some of the Discords with some of the top players, some of the pros or people that were pros already. And I just started playing with them, started to get to know everybody, and went from there.
All right, man. Now, you kind of touched base on this. You made a hint about this. How did you get your name, MachineGunner? How did you come to put that as your name?
Well, I was in the Marine Corps, and my job was MOS is what they call it. It's a 0331 or a machine gunner. So I was a 240, 50 cal, and a Mark 19 gunner. So
yeah,
ever since I got out, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
What were you saying though? Ever since you got up, what's happening? Ever since you got up?
No, ever since I got out of the Marine Corps and I started gaming, that was just the name I went with.
All right, well, touche. I have a mustache and my name's Dave, so I kind of just went with that name. So I guess not much behind it because we have all these crazy names out there like Candy Dragon 69. So you and me have pretty original names, that match our personalities. So much respect to that. Now let's talk about PUBG for a second. I'm gonna ask you, what's your favorite drop spot and your favorite loadout? So two questions combined in one. Lay it on me, man.
All right. Well, favorite drop spot in public games is South George. The front six and the back six, I call them honey holes.
Okay.
And competitive games, I like going military.
All right. And your loadout, your favorite loadout?
Right now, Scar and Mini. I think they're the two strongest guns. The Mini really needs to be nerfed, and the Scar, I think, is the overall best assault rifle to use as far as handling and even damage. It's pretty strong.
Now, you mentioned the Mini should get nerfed. What What nerf would you put on that?
Probably just well,
I mean,
I don't want it to get nerfed because I like using it.
Of
but
course. But if they were to, the recoil?
Yeah, the recoil has to be nerfed. And I mean, it's pretty much feels as if it comes stock with like a compensator.
I got you. Yeah, I actually saw a clip that you posted last night with the Mini 14, right? You're going side to side, and there's basically no recoil. I mean, that just demonstrates kind of what you're touching on here. So Mini 14, though, since its debut, definitely one of my favorite guns. If I'm fully decked out, I have a gun, all attachments, I see a Mini 14, I grab it instantly because I just love that gun regardless. You know, I hope they don't nerf it necessarily, but I understand why they would. It's strong. It's a strong gun right now. Now, a couple more. If you were a crate, what would you spawn?
Oh man!
So you're the crate. You're the crate. All right.
I'm actually physically the crate.
The crate. All right. You have the red smoke ready to go. All right. You have your contents inside you. You're not dropping in the water, so somebody's definitely going to get you. So what would you spawn? What would you have inside of you?
And does it have to be a gun that's actually in the game, or could it be a gun that's not in the game?
In the game. In the game. In the game, man. You've seen crates. You're a crate hunter yourself, so you know what's the best crate. But if you could put a combination of anything that's in the game into a crate, what would you be?
AWM, 8X, level 3 helmet, and probably more than 20 rounds.
All right. So pretty decent crate. I got one more what if question for you, and then we'll get into some more serious stuff here. Okay. This one is from a viewer. All right. They want to remain anonymous right now.
Anonymous viewer.
Anonymous viewer. All right. They said, MachineGunner, if you were forced to put one condiment on every single meal for an entire year, what would that condiment be?
Ketchup. I literally just had ketchup.
All right, but you got to think about this. You're putting ketchup on every single meal you have. That's your breakfast. That's your cereal. That's your lunch. That's your sandwiches. And that's your dinner. All right? That's your soup. You're putting ketchup on all that. If you're eating ice cream, you're putting ketchup on it. Are you still going with ketchup?
Yeah, ketchup.
All right, you heard it here first, guys. After Hours with Mustache Dave, MachineGunner will eat ketchup for the year. So...
On anything.
On anything. He said ice cream. He said soup. He's putting ketchup on. Now, I would probably go with soy sauce. You know, I love
soy sauce.
I mean, it just adds a little salty flavor to it. So, it doesn't really change it, in my opinion. The whole overall texture of the actual food. But, all right. So, October the 2nd, our Showdown series. We had you guys. You guys were looking so good. You did a play. I want to ask you about this play. Not necessarily the outcome of the play, but the mindset of a pro player. So I'm going to pull this play up right now. You're going to see it. And just talk about the play. Just talk about what happened. So give me a rundown like you were before. Tell me what happened. And tell me what you would do differently, I guess you could say, like your mindset as a pro player.
Okay, so... ironically, in this game was actually going pretty well for us. We were center circle on like 3 circles. Then the circle popped when we were on the flat top garage building in Watertown, or Atlantis, I call it. And it popped like right around the school water tower area. So we pushed into the school. Circle was actually really good for us after... we got into the school. It came south towards us as opposed to going in Rozak where we heard a lot of shooting going on. So we... Are
you playing the drums back there?
No, that's Wiz.
And who's Wiz? Who's Wiz, though? I'm sorry, who's Wiz? I mean, these are first-time viewers.
Wiz is my dog, and when he finishes his food and he wants more, he picks up his huge metal ball and brings it to me, or makes as much noise as he possibly can with it until I feed him again.
So
it's like 110 pounds, so he eats a lot.
So you just constantly feed Wiz all day long then?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep, that's literally exactly what happens.
All right, so we'll just wrap up this gameplay just for real quick, and then we'll throw it to a commercial break, and you'll be able to feed this Wiz guy. You're explaining you guys were forced to push up. You knew you had somebody on the sniper tower right to your left, and you had that shack. What do you call the shacks again?
Wing tanks.
The wing tanks. You had the wing tanks ready to go. What happened there? Like, what's your mindset?
So the call for us was to have two of us watching the water tower where I think it was Cream 9 was up there.
Yeah.
And they were helping us for the most part because they had high ground on pretty much every other team, and they were like eliminating a lot of threats for us that would potentially push from Razak or push from like L or J compound. So I was Hypak actually made the call, which was the right call. He had two of us watching the water tower, and he wanted two of us to push into the wing tank because we knew that was, in the next circle, and we can kind of hold off. I think it was wins only that was across the street from us. And just like one of those things, heat of the battle in the moment. We were like I was shooting at Cream 9 that was on top of the water tower hill, and then I think like MJ, Lush, Hypak were also shooting there and across the street at wins only, and then they just snuck up in a buggy and pretty much got in the wing tank on us.
Yeah. They're definitely. I mean, you call it a wank tank for a reason, so they were wanking it in there. But I mean, I would assume that's why you call it that. But we're gonna throw it to a quick commercial break, sponsored by our Antline Audio mics. Now, I know you guys are loving it, and if you win first place, you get them yourself. By the way, MachineGunner, and I know you guys are working your way up there. But we'll be right back to After Hours with Mustache Dave. Stay tuned.
Are you sick and tired of crappy sounding headset microphones? Well, worry no more. The Mod Mic 5 offers excellent audio quality and is universally compatible with any set of headphones. Head over to AntlineAudio.com to find out more.
Welcome back. This is After Hours with Mustache Dave. I'm your host, Mustache Dave, joined this evening by MachineGunner. Now, MachineGunner, we're going to get into these tough questions, these hard-hitting questions. I know. You're nervous. I see you over there. You're nervous, man.
All right. Yeah,
we're going to start this off. I'm going to throw you an easy curveball. If you had to put a label on your playstyle, what would that be?
Probably a looter.
Okay,
I like looting.
A looter. You like looting?
I love looting.
All right. A lot of people say you're aggressive, though. Would you agree with that?
Well, yes and no, I guess. I guess, yeah.
Well, tell me, man. Yes and no. Yes and no.
I mean, most people say that I am. I guess that's like how I play in like public games for the most part. Like I'll usually always try and breach or be like the point man, like the first one in. Usually, I'll get downed, and then but hopefully my teammates are behind me to like trade. So I guess that's where I think the majority of people probably see the aggressive play or the aggression come from. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, I've been trying to tone it down a little bit in competitive play because I've been playing in the Showdown series since the start of it.
Yeah.
And like the players are good. Like it's especially in first person now. It's not as easy to just kind of peek around a door or a corner. Now you could open a door and someone could just be sitting there with a double barrel shotgun or something,
Yeah.
So I've toned it down recently, and now I'm just trying to be a little bit more tactical about my gameplay.
So you're toning it down, but is that purely because of the new first person meta that we're in?
No, not necessarily. I think it's just more I'm trying to limit the deaths that really aren't necessary. Like, you know, a lot of the teams that are winning and consistently doing well in the competitive scene are, you know, they have multiple people alive at the end of the game. So, you know, if I just have to slow it down, take a second or two to, you know, really think things through, possibly get a better angle or put myself in a little, or give myself a little bit of a tactical advantage on my opponent, then it may save me or my teammate, in which, you know, snowball effect towards the end of the game. You know, it could help us out a little bit.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. I like that explanation a lot. Now, moving on to our next question. You brought it up, the Showdown series. You've been in here since season 1, all right? But we're talking about our current season, or you can even bring up since season 1 as well, like up until this day. I want to know your biggest competition or rival in the Showdown series. Your biggest rival. Let me know, man. Let them know.
Probably say Corn Shuckers.
Corn Shuckers is your biggest rival on the Showdown. All right, and why is that?
Just because I don't know, I love those guys. Honestly, all of them are amazing players, and been playing against them competitively for a while. I mean, they're just. I'm always happy, I guess, when we run into them. Sometimes not so happy. Yeah, because they're all like amazing shots and smart players, experience. So it doesn't always go in our favor, but it always brings a smile to my face. You know, when I get to down Zampa or Great Cornholio, it just makes me smile.
and probably vice versa on their side when they get their down.
I'm sure they love when they kill me. They just killed me in the last game I played, so I'm sure that.
So they're gonna watch this and they're gonna laugh because they're probably like, "Oh, we just killed them in our last scrim as well."
Yeah.
But let's talk about this for a second. It's been a big topic lately in the Showdown series. Now, I'm sure you've talked about this before, or you've heard multiple conversations regarding this subject. I want to know MachineGunner's thoughts on this meta's water strat. What's up with that, man? Tell me, good or bad, and what does MachineGunner think about it?
I mean, it's just, unfortunately, it's one of those terrible and like really bad strategies that sometimes I guess are necessary. I mean, we haven't done it, or we haven't been doing it. You know, in the last few games in which people started doing it, we had like great position in the games, and we were pretty happy about our position. And then only to the circle go more towards water, and then we had to fight like multiple teams. Like we fought Corn Shuckers up on a hill, and they had good position too. So it's rough because, you know, every place counts and the points really do matter, and they add up at the end of the season. You know, some people are 1 or 2 points out of, you know, making it to the Showdown next season or being in relegations. So it's upsetting, you know, that's for sure, when you see people that are, you know, getting third place with an entire team that has no kills being in the water. Yeah. But then again, there's, you know, I don't think anyone could say that they either haven't done it before or they wouldn't do it before for a higher placement. You know, as a solo, I could see it being a little bit more acceptable, you know, because it's, no matter how good you are, if you run into another Showdown team as one person, you very rarely see 1v4s, you know? Yeah. In public games, sure, yeah, but like it's not as common in the Showdown series. So as one person, I think it's a little bit more acceptable, but I personally dislike the strategy.
Now, talking about the water strat for a second, though. The other day, I'm not trying to brag. I was in one of your customs, all right? You and your squad, they blew up my squad. But then I dipped into the water, and I was swimming around. You couldn't find me, man.
I remember that.
Someone told me you were extremely upset with me because I got away because of the water strat. I'm just putting it out there, all right? The water strat doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. But this isn't a Showdown series. You when I was in the water. So I can understand. So a couple more questions here. Almost done. I appreciate your time, by the way. But
thank you.
In your opinion, what advice would you give new players wanting to break into the pro scene?
Advice I'd give would probably just be obviously play as much as you can. Nothing beats experience. I think in this game and in other things as well. Experience and just putting yourself in situations where once you start playing with better players, you've already been in this situation before, so you react properly. Is important. I think maybe trying to get honestly into the open series. It's anybody could join. So start making a name for yourself. That's where we started. That's where I started. I literally never had an intention of being a professional. I just enjoyed streaming. I've been doing it for a long time. I just like entertaining, but I was doing really well in the first season of the open series. And I was like top 5 in kills, and people started taking notice of it and started inviting me to play with them and a lot of these other top players. So, a lot of it just play, get experience, and just grind it out. And like people will notice if you're, if you're a really good player or an exceptional player, people will notice. If you're, constantly getting top 3, top 5, there's a reason for that. So they'll notice that too. Maybe you're a good shot caller or a good support type player. It's all necessary. So yeah, just play, grind the open series, make it to contenders, and then, just keep going from there.
Yeah, that's very good advice, man. I appreciate that. And I'm sure our players out there wondering on how they can break through will definitely take that into consideration. Now, before we leave, do you have any questions for me personally, while you got me here?
Yeah, sure. At what age did you start growing a mustache?
At what age did I start growing a mustache?
'Cause it seems like you got rid of your mustache, but then 2 days later it was there. It's like, boom. You guys went live and you lived up to the name again.
What age? I mean, I was one of those guys, right? I was the youngest one in my group of friends. All my friends had facial hair. I didn't. But, I want to say around 14 or 15, I just woke up one morning and this thing was on my face. And then my friends were like, whoa, man, you look older than us now. And, back when you're young, you want to look old. But now that you're, we're getting older.
Yeah,
you want to look
I know.
It's the opposite effect. But yeah, I pretty much I drink a lot of, Gatorade, and, my hair just grows so much during night. So I actually have to shave at least 3 times a day to keep this little stubble going. But my mustache, 2 days, like you said. I was getting kind of tired of people saying no stash Dave. So I'm like, listen, I'm going to show
I could tell.
I'm going to show these guys up. So I just drank my Gatorade and it grew overnight.
Overnight, right?
Overnight, man. But thanks for having me today. Thanks for joining me as my first guest, making this pretty good first ever After Hours with Mustache Dave show. Anything else you want to say? Put a little plug there, let the people know how they can get in touch with you. Let them know how they can participate in your customs that, are on fire every night.
That's right.
Every night.
Yeah, they could come by my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/MachineGunner USMC. And I'm usually playing or streaming 14, 15 hours a day, so it's pretty hard to miss me. And I'll see you there.
I'll see you there. Don't miss out. It's your boy, MachineGunner. Thanks again for joining me tonight, man. This has been After Hours with Mustache Dave. You guys have a good night.
Good night.